Yeah. Thanks for the helpful information. Okay, chapter 2, theories on aging. All right, so we need to define a couple more things. What are we trying to explain with these theories? The first is the aged. This is the population of those who can be categorized as elderly. This is what you think of older people. Aging is a developmental process. This is what we go through in order to become the aged. And then age itself is a structure. That's just what your age is. Okay? Yes, you never stop aging until you die. You have to define these in order to understand these theories. Okay? All right, so the first three that we're going to talk about are biological theories of aging. Stochastic theories, developmental genetic theories, and evolutionary theories. Okay? These all have their individual slide. This is just to start, but these are biological theories. Got me? All right. Stochastic theories. These explain aging as a result from the accumulation of insults from the environment. This meaning injuries. This could be just wear and tear, those kind of things. That's a stochastic theory. That is broke down into two more theories. Somatic mutation theory. You guys let me know when you're ready for these, okay?
Wait, where are we?
Somatic mutation theory. You good? Okay.
Hold on.
Okay. All right. So somatic mutation theory is the accumulation of mutations and other genetic damages that result in a functional failure. It's saying that all those insults add up to a functional failure somewhere in your body. Okay? Error catastrophe theory. This is what, I don't even want to read you the book definition because it's going to confuse you. This is saying that your body's mechanisms that synthesize proteins becomes really bad at that later. Is that easier to understand there? Is that pretty good? Different mechanisms in your body. Your protein synthesis slows down, and this thus results in death. Okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, like okay.
You have to break down protein, man. Protein. Get the gains.
No, I know that, but we get it from food. Make protein.
Oh, so there you go. All right. Now, developmental genetic theories. These are when you see developmental genetic theories, I want you to stick on the word genetic. Okay, these are genetically controlled. The first one is the neuroendocrine theories. Functional decrements in neurons, neurotransmitters, and hormones as central to the aging process. What this means, the neuroendocrine theory, what I want you to remember it as, is that your neurons, neurotransmitters, the hormones, all these things that are making up you decrease. That's all it means. Okay? Immunological theories. This is saying that your body has programmed decrements in your immune system. They're just, as you get to a certain age, your immune system starts to go down. That's programmed into your body. All right. Are you good, Lindsay? You need me to hold up? Okay. The free radical theory. This is where changes happen due to the production of free radicals in your body. Free radical theory. I could go a 2-day lecture on that one. Just remember it as that. Okay. Yeah. Changes happen due to the production of free radicals. Eat your antioxidants.
Blueberries.
Okay. If you don't know what free radicals are, that's definitely a YouTube video you should look up. There's all kinds of stuff on it. We good? All right. Evolutionary theories. Evolutionary theories attempt to explain the origin of aging as we go throughout our lifespan. The mutation accumulation theory. Have you guys heard when you go have mutations in your DNA and your body fixes them before they become an issue the majority of the time? Well, this is just saying that these mutations build up so much that results in aging. A lot of these, the name will tell you exactly what the theory means. Okay? The antagonistic, I'm not even going to attempt it because I can't, pleiotropy theory. Yeah, that P word. That's where genes have a good effect earlier in life, but then your genetics start to fight you later in life. They become like bad, like they're genetically predisposed to break your body down and cause you to age. So they're all about making you who you are now, young, healthy adult, but then they start to fight against you later in life. Okay? And then the if I can talk today, we'll be getting somewhere. Disposable soma theory. This is their increased rate of aging occurs through your soma cells, or soma cells, being fought against each other. Does anybody remember from biology what a soma cell is? It's what like houses your neurons and all that stuff, down to the very basic matter, those kind of things. But they have limited durability, and then they die off. That's what causes a stage, by that theory.
It doesn't include.
I don't think so, no. Okay? All right. Neurophysiological theories of aging. These are based on the principle that neural structures are what is causing us to age. Breaking down. They're vulnerable. They're not very tested over time. They just die off. And then the theories of neurodegenerative change says that neuropathways change. That's what results in aging. As you can see, we're not even like halfway through this part of this chapter in this lecture, and all these different theories to aging. Everyone from the beginning of time has been so stuck on the idea of dying and aging and trying to stop it. To some extent, as you can see from the last chapter, we've kind of got successful at that. Life expectancy has gone up by 40, 50 years from what it was. So I always thought it was a cool idea to think in your mind is like when we get to our elderly stage, the old stage, is it going to be like you go in, like you take your car into the shop, you take your body into the shop and get like, here's a mechanical kidney, like here's a tune-up, your liver needs changed out now. Maybe that by that point it'll just be standard primary care doctor practice. Swap out your liver filter. You're low on white blood cells. I don't know. You think so? Maybe. Yeah, I'm sure they're not shipping liver filters over, to third world countries. You're probably right. All right. Now, that was all for this. Psychological theories of aging. And these all have their own slide. Feel free to write these down if you want them, but they all have their own. We good? All right, you have the lifespan development theory. It's saying the second half of life is characterized by significant individual differentiation, saying that whatever you have gone through in your life and in your lifespan is what is going to determine how well you age and how you age. Anybody remember what the plasticity word there at the end, what that means? Cassidy? You know what plasticity means? When you think about aging? Kind of. Yes. Maggie? What's plasticity? Intra-individual plasticity. What does that mean? Adapt. You're getting it. Yeah. What? Not retention. I want you to think of bouncing back. What you're able to take in, what kind of an injury, what kind of a life experience or something, and how well you're able to bounce back from it. Somebody who has a knee injury, are they able to bounce back from that, or is that really crippling to their health? All of that has a huge impact on their lifespan, right? Like for my grandpa, what ended up taking him away, or was the catalyst to taking him away, was a broken hip. A lot of people cannot recover from a broken hip later in life. That's like the thing that takes people out a lot of the time. And we're going to talk about that in orthotic stuff actually tomorrow in 207. All right, so lifespan development theory. Let's continue on. It has three key principles that kind of make up for this. The first is evolutionary selection benefits decrease with age. So when you think of, evolution and, the fit, live, that kind of thing, survival of the fittest, I was trying to think that word. That is all about surviving and living and thriving. When you think about evolution as a whole and how our life expectancy has gone much higher, we are past the point now of evolutionary benefits of surviving. We have made adaptations to make it to this far in age. But with this lifespan, one of the principles it's talking about is that those benefits weren't planned for an 85, 90-year-old life. If you were 80 or 90, think about your basic 80 and 90-year-old having to go live out in the wilderness. It's not going to make it. Possibly we could at least make it for a few weeks, right? Fine. Maybe form some kind of shelter, maybe find some kind of food. Your average 80-year-old, even think like 60 and 70-year-olds, that's not geared toward them. So, that's one principle that bases off of. The second one is the need for culture increases in age. The need for us to accept their culture, what's personal to them. I'm not talking about culture as a whole, but their culture. And then last is the efficacy of culture decreases, or the result or satisfaction from culture. You always hear old people saying, well, back in my day, blah, blah, it was better. That's because as the culture has changed, it's become less satisfactory to them. The result is they're not as happy with the result of it. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. This one is a little bit longer. Okay. The selective optimization with compensation. This is a model of psychological and behavioral adaptation where the central focus is managing the dynamics between gains and losses as one ages. Okay, that's broke down into three areas here. Okay, the first one is selection. This refers to the increasing restriction of an individual's life into fewer domains of functioning. This means your body or your individual person is deciding what domains of function are more important. Are your basic gross motor skills to walk and have mobility more important than your fine motor skills? You see a lot of people, even like talented piano players or instrumentalists, these people, They get to a point where they can't do that anymore. That's because their gross motor skills are now more important to their body, and the function has gone way down. Okay. Second one is optimization. This refers to the idea that people engage in behaviors that enrich their life and like kind of complements whatever their life course is. They're going to choose what is important. Okay. And then lastly is compensation. This is how they're able to adapt to certain situations and their ability to be able to adapt to certain situations. Again, you take us and throw us out in the wilderness for a little while. We might, adapt and be able to do that for, to not die. Someone who's 80 or 90, they're going to have a much harder time doing that. Okay. Socio-emotional selectivity theory. Are you guys good? Did you need me to go back to that one? That last one was kind of long. Good? Okay. All of these are listed in your book. I put these on here so you can just look at the PowerPoint instead of your book. If you want to go back and take notes through it, the same stuff is in your book. Okay. All right. Socio-emotional selectivity theory. This combines insights from the developmental psychology and particularly the selective opposition with compensation model, the last thing we just talked about. Okay, this is where the big one I want you to remember here, rather than me read through the whole thing, is this is where they choose where to spend their emotional energy. What they're going to be invested in. Is it going to be with love with their significant other, with their kids, or are they going to be more emotionally attached with like their boss or something like that? No, they're going to spend more emotional energy being attached to the people that are closer to them, right? Or people who are more important to them. That's what that means. Got me? All right. Next is cognition and aging and personality and aging. The age-related decline in fluid cognitive performance. That last sentence on that first part there. What does it mean by fluid cognitive performance? Lindsay.
Being able to repeat things easier.
Right. Absolutely. Being able to go back and forth. What's another big part of being fluid cognitively, Isaiah?
Memory.
Your memory. Absolutely. You mentioned a word a second ago, the retention part of it, because yep, being able to move back and forth in between things, remembering what's important about those situations, and filtering out what's not important. That's another big part of it. Personality theories focus on the extent and nature of personality stability and change over the lifespan. There's some developmental explanations for that, and then there's some trait explanations for that on, how they developed, those kind of things, than their own personal traits. Are we good with that one? We're getting there, I promise. 4 more to go. Okay? All right, life course perspective and social exchange theory. Life course meaning the dynamic, contextual, and processual nature of aging. What is just a life course? Again, I'm going to say this 100 times in this course, that dementia, Alzheimer's, these cognitive declines, that's not normal. That's not normal aging. That is a disease. Okay? So just because somebody's having memory lapse and stuff, that's not a normal part of aging. Got me?
Do you get a lot of it now?
No, because there's always not a definite cause, but there's always a cause for the dementia. We'll talk about that. I have a huge chapter on Alzheimer's, dementia, and that stuff later. But there's always like a causation with dementia. Think about somebody like, here's a perfect example. How about Betty White? She's 99 years old. Your normal 99-year-old person is not out working, is not out enjoying life, is not, I would say she probably, I mean, of course I didn't know her, but she didn't seem to have dementia, right? She actually hosted Saturday Night Live 2 years ago. She was rich, right? I mean, well, it's a good example of what we've kind of talked about, how wealth plays a big plays a big part of, how well you age and those stressors that Maggie talked about. And then the social exchange theory This is what I want you to remember about this one is the shift in roles. Shift in roles, shift in skills, and resources that accompany advancing aging. This is all a big change, right? They're exchanging roles for new ones. You may have been the caretaker. Now, you're the person that needs a caretaker, those kind of deals. All right. So some client-centered approaches with older adults. I'm not going to rehash MOHO, that second one. I think we've talked about MOHO quite a bit, right? Model of Human Occupation. You guys remember it from last semester? Yeah. The systems theory of motor control. This is where motor movement can only be understood as an interaction of internal and external forces acting on the body. That kind of goes without saying. Your systems all work together. Okay? And then with MOHO, there's last three little words there. I want to go over those just to make sure everybody remembers what they are. Volition. Cassidy, do you remember what volition is? Motivation. That's their will. Somebody's will to do something. Habituation. Jennifer. Yes. Kind of like their habits. Right. So the way I want you guys to remember it is how occupation is organized. That creates a habit. How you organize your own occupation is how you form a habit. And then last is performance capacity. What's that one, Maggie? That's absolutely right. Your ability to complete a task due to your own mental, physical state, whatever. All right, so why do we care about theories anyway? Why am I giving you guys a super long lecture that's hard to keep notes with? It's because it guides your practice, okay? When I started off the first chapter talking about like how you perceive older people, believe it or not, you got that from personal experiences and a theory that matches one of these, okay? This person aged because in this way, because this. It's all trying to explain how somebody ages and why they age. Why do you think theory is so important, Faith, to guiding your practice?
So that you can.
That's right. So you can gauge whatever intervention that you want to use for them, but not only like which one you want to use, but be able to explain why you want to use that. Why I'm using this intervention is because I believe in this theory of aging, or I'm using this theory of aging with this person, and that's going to help guide whatever your intervention is. Okay? Now, you're not going to be like, so I'm using the somatic theory today with Ella, so I need to choose this. This is all things that you do, kind of like with the task analysis that you get 100 times last semester, that you do in your head. You're running through these things, and you're thinking, oh, this. That's why these theories are important to know. And lastly, with OT and theory, occupational therapists select from theories like MOHO. That's probably the biggest one. You ask somebody what theory they believe in, they're probably going to tell you MOHO. But they also help us define why and how we choose interventions for people. Okay? Well,
How will we get
it will.
we need to know every single one in their whole
You need to